Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on just because you're an artist doesn't mean you have to starve to market your work. This is actually the second in our creative series. Tune in for the next 2 Tuesdays for the remaining 2 in our series. I'm Tim Ryan, the webinar coordinator and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'll be your host. Our presenter today is Randye Spina. More on Randye in just a minute. First, some brief information on SCORE. There's over 320 offices and 11,000 volunteers nationwide. We're part of the Small Business Administration. SCORE Fairfield County has over 130 volunteers with a wide range of industry, process, and subject matter expertise. We offer 3 primary evaluated services to small business owners. First, free one-on-one counseling. Second, educational workshops and webinars, over 150 per year. And 3, extensive resources on our website, including Word and Excel templates to help you build your business plan. SCORE puts on many webinars each month. Look for future events on our webinar calendar at fairfieldcounty.score.org. Some useful information about today's event. If you have a question, please use the chat window at any time during the presentation. It's located in the lower part of your screen. Our webinar will end at 1 o'clock. To respect your time, the session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be available on our website within the next couple of days. Now our speaker. Randye Spina is a marketing and communications consultant with an emphasis on working with small businesses. She is a board member and the marketing director of Arts Alliance of Stratford and is a presenter for many community organizations and nonprofits. She has written a handbook on small business marketing. When not working with clients, Randye can be found teaching marketing at local colleges and universities. Welcome, Randye. I'll turn it over to you now.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm happy to be here again doing this wonderful service for SCORE and for the creative and artistic community. So I'm going to just dive right in. I want to make it clear that I am not an artist. I'm probably a frustrated creative, and maybe in another life I'd been an artist, but for now all I do is coloring books. And I do quite a bit of writing as well. So I am the only non-artist on the board of the Arts Alliance of Stratford, and I do their marketing, PR, and communications for them. And so with that, let's just dive right in. Okay, so I'd like to start with talking a little bit about what is marketing. When I ask that question of live workshops and students, they either say sales or websites. And both of those things are true. However, there's a lot more to it. And here is a list of some of those things, like, you know, your target market, where are you selling, what channels are you using, your packaging, branding, slogan, pricing, and all of that other stuff. So marketing is just a strategic conglomeration of the process of bringing your product or service to market at the right time when they are ready to purchase or repurchase. So I like to talk about cultivating a marketing mindset. And there's a great Buddhist saying, you know, what has long been neglected cannot be restored immediately. And for 13 years, I had a small business marketing agency, and I would often get frantic calls in November. You know, what do I do for holiday marketing? You can't neglect it, you know, 11 months out of the year and then expect it to be successful when you need it to be. So one of the things that I want to make sure that I convey today is, you know, putting yourself in a marketing mindset and thinking about your business in terms of, you know, doing all of the right things to get your product or service into the hands of the right people. So it's also sometimes called marketing enablement. And it just means putting workflow processes in place. Okay, so that you keep your marketing and sales related processes at the forefront of your operation. So it might be something as simple as creating a marketing calendar or writing on your own calendar, you know, in the morning, every morning, do your social media posts or return phone calls, or, you know, check on, you know, the if anybody filled out the form on your website. So it's just sort of being aware and putting things in place. So here's a not so good example. I purchased very expensive, high-end, handmade chocolates for someone for Valentine's Day several years ago. And this was the packaging that it came in. So come the next, you know, Valentine's Day, I guess this person didn't have an email list or anything. I was not notified in January, hey, you want to repurchase or anything like that. So when I finally realized, oh, I'd like to get these again because this person really enjoyed them, I couldn't. There's no marking on here whatsoever. I forgot the name of the company. I didn't have a website or there was nothing, okay? Here's a really good example, okay? I purchased this piece of art at a show some years ago, and when I turned it around, I didn't even realize this until I got it home. When I turned it around, the artist had tucked his business card in the back. Genius, okay? And it's still there. I took this picture recently. So if anybody says, wow, you know, that's beautiful, where did you get it, or who did it, I can tell them, right? So it's really important. So yes, artists sign their work, visual artists, but you still sometimes can't read their handwriting, still don't know how to get in touch with them, right? So think about the things that will get you business beyond the initial sale, okay? So here's sort of a formula for success that we talk about in marketing. So 60% of your success is getting to the right audience or target market or segment, or however you want to call that. 30% is the actual, you know, what it is that you are offering. It's the verbiage that you use around it. It could be something like your slogan. It could be, you know, your sort of your vibe or how you talk to people. And then 10% is the design. Now, I realize I'm speaking to a creative community here, and in no way does that 10% mean it's not important. But in marketing, the most important thing is getting your target audience right, okay? So I'd like to talk about some marketing categories. So there are 3: owned, earned, and paid. So I'm going to go through them quickly with you. So owned is anything, any channel where you control your own promotion and your narrative. So it's your website because you create it or someone creates it for you. It's your customer list. Notice all the stars there. I'll get to that in a minute. It's your digital content, what you put out on social. It's things like your business card, or it's even things if you have a brochure or sales sheets or anything like that. So this is where you want to spend most of your time and effort. Because although, yes, there is an expense to creating a website, there is an expense to, you know, creating business cards and things, it is the best investment where you control your messaging. And when you own it, you can create your branding, your narrative, your story. I love going on an artist's website and reading about them, or if there's video, which is becoming obviously very important. Tell me your story. You know, did you used to work in warehousing and now you're an artist? I mean, so many artists come into their own later in life as well. So what is your story? People are really attracted to understanding what's behind the art. Or if you're a writer, what your story is behind your writing. I don't want to exclude any other artists here. Also dance performances and things like that, you know, whatever your art is, how did you get there? What is your story? Okay. So the next one is earned. So earned is public relations and social media sharing. And this is any channel where your promotion is dependent upon others. So I do a lot of PR, a lot of press releases for the Alliance, and sometimes you get lucky. I mean, I got it in the hands of, someone who was interested in doing a story on us, and we were interviewed on a local radio show. So public relations is, you can learn how to do it yourself. At the end of this, I have a whole resources sheet, and the Public Relations Society of America, for example, will show you how to write a press release. You can create your own press list just by investigating what's in your local area, or beyond, if that's who you serve and who you sell to, if you ship your items, for example. Social media sharing is obviously wonderful. The more sharing, the more connections you can make. Again, at the end, I have lots of resources for this. And I'm going to go through social media separately. But when your narrative is wonderful, people are going to want to share it, and you'll get a lot of earned media. And again, it doesn't cost any money. Right? So this is really good to have shareable content. Now, I do want to make a statement about, if you are a visual artist or even a writer, my writing has been stolen. I found a bootleg copy of my book online, had to send a cease and desist letter. It happens. Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about it, but be careful about sharing images, have a watermark on them and all of that. I suggest that if you haven't already, to sign up for all of Cliff's versions of this SCORE webinar coming up, or if he dealt with it in the last one last week, but he can help you more about how to legally protect your work. But being on social media doesn't mean that you give away your images for free at all, okay? If you are doing a show, if you're doing a farmer's market, if you are taking part in some kind of community event, connect with all those people on social. Make sure that you are tagging them, ask them to tag you. So you can really grow quickly on social if you do it right. And again, all the resources are at the end here. And then lastly, there's paid. So this is any place where you need to pay to be promoted. So things like advertising. Okay. Most people don't have enough money for advertising. Most small businesses of any kind don't have money for advertising. And I'm not necessarily sure that advertising is even a good thing in some cases. You can pay for a sponsorship, for example, and there are many other things that you can pay for. But this is why I have this one last. If you do the first two really well, you'll never need to pay. It will become a moot point, because everybody already knows who you are. They're consuming your content. Maybe they're getting a once a month email newsletter. They're following you on social. They know you're going to be at the farmer's market on Thursday morning. They come see you. So paid is the last thing that you should be doing. So don't think that marketing is always advertising or something that you need to pay for. So when someone does contact you in whatever way that is, maybe they signed up for an email newsletter on your website, maybe they're following you on social, maybe you collect emails if you do a farmer's market or you do an art show. Make sure that you tether those prospects to you, because the last thing that you want to do is have to go chase people all over the neighborhood or the internet. So there are three elements of strategy in marketing. So the first one you'll see is red, and it surrounds all the others. That's acquisition. So acquisition can be the most expensive, and it takes, everybody's in acquisition mode when you first start a business or launch a new product, or whatever that might be. Then in the middle is retention. Once they've purchased from you, or once they've signed up for your email newsletter, you want to make sure that you retain them, and that you are in touch with them, that you don't fall off their radar. When I had my agency, I did a once-a-month email newsletter on various topics for small business marketing. I got so much business from that, and it was $20 a month to do that email marketing. and it was well worth it. Now you're staying in front of people once a month on a consistent schedule. And then the last one is reactivation, which, so if somebody did business with you, let's say 3 years ago, and then they haven't since, you want to see if you can reactivate them. Now, this may not apply to everyone here in the artist community, but think about if you are a writer and you wrote a book and you wrote a second book or a follow-up, you would like for them to, right, reactivate and purchase that second book from you. So having the right tactics at the right time is really important. But I can't say this strongly enough. I have so many horror stories of creatives who were wonderfully appreciative of the business that they got, but didn't do this part of it. And this part of it is really important to a marketing mindset, is making sure that you tether them to you. The other important thing that you can consider, which is of very little or no cost, depending upon how you do this, is what I call centers of influence. So these are people and organizations that can open doors for you. So for example, SCORE just opened this door for me. So joining associations, whether it be a local, chamber or some kind of a leads group. I mean, there are so many of these right now. A meetup group, there are so many, right? So these are connecting on social media, obviously, is another one. Galleries, if you are a visual artist of some kind, connecting with a gallery, getting on their email list, going to see them, maybe they'll carry your work. Actually, a lot of restaurants are doing that now, right? They have a wall, and maybe they rotate once a month with new art, or they purchase art for their venue. Also network of family, friends, colleagues. So, these are people who can really help you, people and organizations who can really help to open doors for you. And they are, just ask. I mean, I've, for years when I had my agency, Cliff was a big center of influence for me. And that's in fact how I got to SCORE some years ago. I've been doing this for a long time. So centers of influence, think about, don't struggle, like ask for help, in other words, right? So who can open these doors for you? Another high level thing that you can think about doing, again, is public relations. So building your own press list. I have a press list that I created for the Alliance, and it's, all of the digital local Fairfield County, organizations, some of the local digital like Hamlet Hub, and, there are so many of these right now. And also the Public Relations Society of America. So public relations, if you do it yourself, you learn how to create a press release, it's free. And then you just email it to everyone. Or on, some of these, a lot of neighborhoods now have local, like hyper local websites. Send it to them. Even if they don't have a, press release contact, just email it to their info@email. You'd be surprised. Outlets are always looking for good news, especially very local. And we all need good news. And it works. News 12 is another example. You can request that they come to an event if you're doing an event. So there are a lot of outlets that are available. You just have to find them. You just have to search them out. So you can do, an internet search for, let's say you're located in Stratford, right? So local news, Stratford, and a whole bunch of things will come up. Patch will come up, Daily Voice will come up, and then you just go on their websites, grab the email address. Sometimes they have a separate press release. Sometimes they don't. It's just an info@. You lose nothing by sending it to them as an attachment. And then in the subject line, you'll just say something like press release, and then put the event or put the name of your company in there. So I want to go through a few marketing mindset tips. So number one, collect emails. You should know that by now. I said that 100 times, right? Collecting, I can't even tell you how important this is. collect emails, okay? The next one, call your own business phone. And for those of you who may not know this, you can get a free Google phone number and just go online, say Google phone, it'll walk you through the instructions. It takes 4 seconds. You can get a separate phone number that you can use as incoming and outgoing, and for incoming and outgoing text messages as well. So call your business phone. What does your message say? You know, do you say your name? Do you say the name of your business? Do you sound happy? Do you sound up? Is it, you know, is it a welcoming message, right? So people don't hang up. The next is to use your own website. And oh boy, do I have horror stories here. Once every few weeks, go on your website, click all the links, make sure that they work, that they go to the right place. Is your website up and running? I mean, I've had instances where I had a client who was out of the country on vacation, and I was doing website work for her, and I log on one day and I got this message saying the website was down. She forgot to renew or something. I don't it was a disaster. She was out of the country. Okay. Don't, right. Stay on top of your stuff. Go to your own website. Read it on your phone. Does it, you know, is it an old website like from the 1990s that doesn't translate well to your phone? That's, you know, not a good thing. Most internet searches now are done on phone or tablet. So it has to be able to, you know, sort of rejigger itself so that it's readable on a smaller screen. The next is, if you are in the kind of business where you mail things to people or ship, you know, pieces of art or sculpture, or whatever it is, send yourself a package and open it. By the time you receive it, you're going to forget that you did it. I promise you. And you're going to open up the package. You know, is it packaged well? Is there a business card in there? Is there a thank you note in there? You know, I've ordered books online and people have tucked really nice cards in there, and I keep them and I use them as bookmarks. You know, how does it look when somebody opens it? Is it just, you know, bubble wrap? I mean, obviously if it's fragile, you need to do that, but what else is in there? You know, I've ordered things where there were a handful of Tootsie Rolls in there, and it's fun to open it and find something like that. And there's a brochure in there to, you know, further orders, or here's what else I do, or, you know, a reminder in there, you know, sign up for our emails. So sending yourself a package is really important, and putting yourself in your customer mindset. The next thing is using a marketing calendar, and I have an example of one at the end of this presentation so that you can, you know what holidays are coming up, or if your business's anniversary is coming up, you can plan for that on social. You can plan for that in a press release. You should know when the holidays are coming up. So sure, you know, Christmas is December 25th every year, but many holidays are not. Like Thanksgiving is not the same exact day every year, or Mother's Day is like the second Sunday, right, of every May. So the dates will change. Make sure you know when these are, right, so that you can back up and then do campaigns that are related to those in time for people to order and celebrate. The other thing is, keep business cards everywhere. Business cards are not dead. In fact, they are, I think, because so few people have them now, when you give someone a business card, it really stands out. And make sure, you know, I went to a couple of art supply stores last week, actually, and I collected some business cards because we're building a resource, a member resource list on the website for the Alliance. And when I got the business cards, I turned both of them over and they were both blank on the back side. So I recommend that you always print on the second side, because it costs very little and you get 100% more space. So you could put anything on there. You could put your mission statement. You can put a little bit about yourself. Don't waste the space. Okay. And then the last thing is to create checklists. So I have checklists, like when I'm going to do, if I'm going to go to, let's say, do a live webinar, in-person webinar, or in-person, sorry, seminar. I have a list of things that I do. I make sure I have my laptop and my cord, my mouse, it's just a list of things like my email sign-up sheet. I have some of my books to sell. So, over the years, I've kind of perfected, and I add to it quite a bit. So think about creating checklists for every big thing that you do. Create a checklist, and then you don't forget anything, right? And everything gets done. And you're systematizing, in other words, you're enabling, right? Marketing enablement or marketing mindset. You are creating things that help you succeed. So you're not always frantic and you have everything settled, okay? So the first thing is for digital marketing is websites. This is the basis for all of your marketing. Even if it's a DIY Wix website, which is perfectly acceptable these days, you have to have a presence online. Otherwise, your social has nowhere to bounce to. You have nothing to connect to. You can't tell your story. You don't own your narrative. It's really, really important to have a website. It can just be 2 pages, right? It could be a home page and then maybe, a list of places where you're showing, or, and obviously that's the place where you collect your email addresses. You probably don't want to show your work. Again, be very careful if you're a visual artist, that you're not, somebody can't copy it or use it without your permission. But, website is yours. That's your story. That's your place that you own. And it's expected, honestly. So let's go through some standard website must-haves. So the first one is your personal story, your about page, or I like active verbs on a website. So I typically don't say about, I would say meet us or meet me in your case. So it's your personal story, your artist bio. Video is really important. And it isn't just like for search engine ranking, but it's because art is a very personal thing and people connect to the artist as well as their work. So consider, just on your phone, doing a 30-second video introduction and uploading it to your website. The next is a portfolio. Again, be careful and do this correctly. Listen to what Cliff has to say here. I'm not the expert on this. But even if it's just, very grainy photos or something of your portfolio, or where you've sold or things like that, galleries where you've been. The next thing is, if you do this, write a calendar of events and shows where you can, where your followers can follow you, right? Where they can go see your work and purchase your work. And then you would use this as content for an email newsletter, content for your website, obviously, content for your social media. So if this is something that you do, again, if you're a visual artist or you're a performance artist of some kind, and, having a calendar of events where people know where they can find you is really important. Obviously, contact information, okay? A lot of people, when they create like a creative website, they have like info at kind of, corporate emails. Try not to do that. Try thinking of something fun. If you don't want to use your name, or you want to keep your name separate for other correspondence, and your contact information is maybe, artist at or creative works at or something like that. So that it feels like you, it's your vibe, it's your conversation. Okay. You don't have to be IBM here. You can be very, very creative. And in fact, obviously that's better. Put all your links to your social media account. And some of the best ones for artists are Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Don't get caught up in all of the others. Master 1 or 2, and then move on to the others. So if you're a fashion designer, probably Pinterest and Instagram, is better for you. I know on for the Alliance, we are on Facebook and Instagram. So Instagram is a very creative world, and we have a lot of activity on our Instagram account. Again, email capture. Have I said that before? And if you actually sell, then purchase and shipping information, you know, is it free? How does it work? Who pays for it? If it isn't free, how do they purchase from you? Do you take credit cards? Do you take PayPal? I highly recommend setting up a PayPal account because everybody trusts PayPal. And they take care of all the financial disclosures, and they also, if somebody wants to return something, or you know, if it arrived broken or something like that, they handle all of that. So of course there's a fee, but PayPal is very trustworthy and everybody knows who they are, right? And then any links to other purchasing platforms where you might sell your work. So for example, we had a show in May, and when people came to the show, some of the artists were, you know, had their followers show up to the show, and they put it on their social, etc. And they had links, and you know, where they could be found, where their work could be sold. So we had a big grand opening reception, coming back to real life after a pandemic. And then yeah, the show stayed up for about a month. So, you know, where can, if you're at the farmer's market every Sunday in, I don't know, Darien, put that on your website, okay? So people can find you. Okay. And also, as a matter of marketing, you know, mindset, put on your calendar, you know, once a week, look at your website. Is it up to date? Is all of your upcoming things on there? That's important too. So from websites, of course, leads to Google. You have to consider how important Google is for websites. And you know, we're not talking ranking here or anything like that. We're just talking it as a marketing platform for you. So setting up a Google SMB account, or I think they changed the name of it from SMB, it was small business, to now it's GMB, Google My Business, so that you get a listing. Once you get a listing, then you can use it for testimonials. You can send the link, have people write testimonials for you. You can also write on Google, get a separate free phone line. Obviously, reviews are really important. And then some additional sales channels and things that you can do with your art, again, depending upon what kind of artist you are. So there's artpreneur.com, Etsy, Zazzle, you know, these are places where you can sell your artwork. And I saw something just yesterday on Facebook that some organization was marketing. They can take your artwork and they can put it on clothing. So you can have a dress with your artwork, or you can have a tie. I'd never seen that before. That was really interesting. So product line, holiday cards. If you are a writer and or a visual artist, you can have holiday cards. And then on the back, you just, you know, print your website and your name, and you know, every holiday that comes up, you can sell separate line of cards, or just, you know, greeting cards. I had one when I had my business with my logo on the front, and the inside was blank, and I would send thank you cards to clients, or I would use them as follow-ups. You know, in today's digital age, I'm telling you, business cards work, and tangible greeting cards work. You get something in someone's hand and you stand out from everyone else. If you're a writer, then maybe you just download some image from iStock, for example, or you know, any one of the other Unsplash or Pixabay, and you write something on the inside. Bookmarks are also really great. You can put your art, your writing on there. I have unscientifically made a connection between people who read a lot and people who consume art. And I don't know why that's true, but I just know in my world, that's true. So I have a zillion bookmarks. They're very usable, and people hang on to them, which is what you want, right? Also selling online courses. There's a company called Skillshare. There's another one called Teachable, and that could be a really great way to monetize your art, your process, if you will. You're not selling your actual art, but you're teaching others how to do something. So you can teach someone how to do, I don't know, watercolor or, you know, whatever it might be. That's becoming very popular. You can write a book if you're a writer, right? You can give lectures, libraries and SCORE. You won't get paid, but you will, again, as a matter of getting to, you know, someone who can open those doors for you, center of influence, you can get a lot of leads from that. And if you sell something tangible, you can consider retail consignment. A lot of small boutiques will do that. And it is not unreasonable for them, obviously, to want probably 30, 40, 50%. But if you do it right and you package it right and everything is branded and labeled with you on it, then people can come back to you to buy more. Gift cards. This is becoming more and more popular, where somebody can buy, it's like, I know this person loves art, I just don't know what to buy them, or what their, you know, what their specific taste is. You can sell gift cards on your website. There are a ton of companies that do that now. And then events, shows, expos, farmers markets. Every time I go to a farmers market, there's always craft people there, artist people there. If for some reason those two things go together now, and of course it's the summer, you know, now is when it's happening. So these are all additional channels that you can sell. And when you go to all these things, make sure you bring that, you know, sheet of paper that says, you know, would you like to sign up for my email list, right? So you're not wasting a lead. And then I want to talk a little bit about, I learned this during the last art show that we did. Just coming and submitting whatever it might be, a painting, is wonderful. But there's work to be done before, during, and after to make the most of it and make it a real marketing powerhouse for you. So the first thing is, when you know you're going to be at a show or do some kind of an event, share it everywhere. Right? Put it in your newsletter, do a press release, and make sure that you label and brand all of the work that you submit, like the earlier one that I showed you, where he tucked his business card in the back. This way, someone knows, if they love it, where to get more, or someone admires it in your home or your office, and they can, right? They know where to get more. On the day of the event, take lots of photos of yourself in front of your art. Try to get photos where it looks crowded, right? So it looks successful. Take videos or create video. Have your business cards, bookmarks, or any other handouts with you, so that when people converse with you, people love to talk to artists, especially non-artists like me. It's like, you know, I'm just so in awe of anybody who can create anything like that. You know, give me something to walk away with, right? And maybe I can't afford your $400 painting, but you can give me a business card and I'll probably go on your email list, and I'll probably visit your website, and I'll think of you when I need something, maybe for someone else, right? And of course, again, collect emails. And then post-event, you know, share your success on your website, again, social media, newsletter. These are all the ways that you start becoming what I call like circular. Okay, so once you have a success to share, then people look forward to your next success and will support you. And once you get the hang of getting one or two that are, you know, you've gone through all these steps, it just becomes easier to do it for the future. And then I want to talk a little bit about social media. So pick one or two, like I said before. It's a lot to keep up with in order for you to really converse and connect with other people. It's time consuming. Okay, so someone sends you a compliment or says, hey, it was great to meet you at the show last weekend. You want to say thank you, great to meet you too. You don't want to do that across 10 platforms. Okay, so again, pick one or two. If you already have an established business and a social media presence, think about what's working for you and what isn't. What's a drain on your time? And, you know, Cliff calls them time vampires, and it can be very time consuming. Okay, and then it's you have no time for anything else. But you know, I have stopped following people who never reply or say thank you. It is, you know, it's wonderful to have a fan base, but you also should show appreciation for it. And if you're overextended, you don't have time to do all that. So then the next thing is to research hashtags. So if you're on Twitter, LinkedIn is now very into hashtags as well. Facebook is getting there. Instagram, complete hashtag based. So have a look at other accounts and other businesses or creatives like you and see what hashtags they're using. So people search on hashtags and you want to make sure that you can connect with those people. Sometimes the difference between a singular and a plural can make a big difference in numbers. So research, you know, what others are using, okay? Others who are successful. I want to make sure to say that, okay? Obviously, like I said before, link them to your social media, link them to your email signature block, whether, you know, whatever you use, Gmail or whatever. And then, of course, you know, be careful with your copyrighted work and be an active participant. You know, again, say thank you, comment on others, just, you know, be gracious on social media. It's supposed to be a two-way street, not just one way. And it's time consuming, right? So here's a sample marketing calendar that I took from a company called HubSpot, which is also listed in the resources that I provide for you. So you can take a look at social media and any other thing and create a sample marketing calendar. And here's just an example of one, or you can use your own calendar. But the idea is to like lay it out, right? And so you can see ahead of time, right? And then create a budget. So marketing is an investment, not an expense. I'm going to go through a couple of things with you about what you should budget for. So to buy a URL, right? So your artist name for your website, for example, can be anywhere from $5 to $20 a year. Hosting is about $10 to $15 a month. You can get packages, you know, and all this, but on average. For website creation, if you don't want to do it yourself, you have to pay for the writing and for the design. And then you always want to have some giveaways, even if it's just business cards, right? For when you meet people in person and go to a show or an event. And then email marketing. So some are free, right? MailChimp is free, but some cost money. And then business cards, probably around $20 for 500 business cards. So I do want to say, if you're going to do your website with Wix, which many people are now, don't buy your URL from them. Buy your URL separately, your domain name, in other words, separately. If you do that and then they host, you can never take that name with you. So make sure to separate those two things. So you can buy a domain name from GoDaddy, is who I use, but you can use anyone, and then have it hosted anywhere. Put it on any platform separately. So be careful about that. And then some wise final words. Those who stop marketing to save money are like those who stop a clock to save time. Not going to happen. A little bit of an investment in, you know, even spread out. So, you know, this year I'll do my website. Next year I'll do brochures, you know, whatever your budget is. And then here's a list of resources. So of course I put Arts Alliance of Stratford on there because I'm on the board. I also put Canva on there. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I want to point out a few. If you are not a visual artist, or even if you are, Canva is free, canva.com, and it's pre-sized templates that you can use for social media. So you don't have to worry about pixels and width and JPEGs, and you don't have to worry about any of that. It's easy, quick, and it's free. And then HubSpot, I want to talk about. Great resource for social media that you can use for, you know, to learn best practices. That's, again, where I got that calendar from. So they're a great resource. You can get their newsletters for free. MailChimp is an email and also a database. You can use it for database as well, and that's free up to, I think, 5,000 names, I believe. PR.com is publicrelations.com. You can learn a lot about using that. Of course, Score is on here, of course. And then Square Up is where you can take credit cards. If you sell, nobody is walking around with $200 or $300 cash. You can swipe a credit card with your phone, smartphone. And then Squarespace and Wix are website platforms that you can look into. And with that, thank you very, very much. I appreciate everyone's time. I hope that I was of some help to you. Can't learn everything in 45 minutes, but you know, I'm always pleased and happy to work with creatives. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Tim so he can close it out.
Yes, thank you. That was wonderful. We'll now use the remaining time for a little Q&A. We will take as many as possible up to the end. So please submit them via the chat feature in the lower portion of your screen. So starting it off, we have Jean. Well, she had first asked for the name of the arts organization, and you've just said it's the Arts Alliance of Stratford. And the second thing she was asking is, where can I best find out how to protect my photos on my website so they cannot save or print?
Yeah, so that's a question for Cliff. What I have seen done, and what I have many artist friends, by the way, and what one of them does is she never ever posts her final work. She'll maybe show something in process, or it's highly pixelated where it's, you know, just sort of shows like what it's going to be. You can use watermarks, and the same is true for photography and videography as well. You know, those can be stolen too, unfortunately. So those are my best recommendations. Again, Cliff is the better person to ask that of.
Right, got it. Wayne was just commenting, in order to set up Google My Business, you have to provide them with a street address, and I operate from my home. Not a good option for him. Is there any way around that?
Yeah, well, so when I had my, so obviously I'm home, my office is at home, but I had a UPS mail, you know, address. So I used that. Many people are not concerned about if putting their home address on there. They're getting a little bit more open about what they will accept. Sometimes you can get, like if you have a PO box, you can get that through. Or if you work out of an artist, if you rent space in an artist loft, for example, and there are so many of those, or like a co-working space, you can use that address. Right.
Very good. Another comment from Luis was just the factor around international. If you work internationally, a lot of those special days like Mother's Day or Workers' Day, Labor Day fall on different days, so you just need to be aware of that. Yeah. We had one question from Sarah. This is going back to a very early on, one of your earlier slides where you were showing the 60, 30, and 10%. Could you just review what were the 60, 30, and the 10 again?
Absolutely. So 60% of your marketing success is going to come from targeting or selling to the right audience. And this is where the hashtags help you, is connecting with the right audience. 30% of your success is going to come from your messaging, your offer, you know, your branding, your vibe, if you will, how you put yourself out there. And then 10% is, you know, how your visuals are designed.
Right, got it. Okay. Dina was just commenting, images on a website should include a watermark, metadata embedded with copyright information. Artists can take advantage of Google licensability. Right. She also said, I did Google My Business street address, then I was able to edit it once it was fully set up to not show our address. Exactly. But our location in our town. Yeah. Kim is saying, does it matter where you buy a domain name? For
No, but
example,
again,
Bluehost. Bluehost, I don't think I've heard that, but
yeah, there's a zillion of them. For whatever reason, 15 years ago when I started my business, I just went with GoDaddy, so that's my go-to. But you can purchase your domain name or your URL from anywhere. You can just Google, where do I get a domain name? But again, if you're going to do Wix, don't buy your name from Wix and use their platform. You can bring over a name to their platform. So that enables you to just say one day, you know what, I'm successful now. I want to invest in a bigger, more powerful website. I want WordPress. So then you take it off the Wix platform. You can take it with you, but you can't do that if you purchased your name from them as well.
right. Yeah. I had a question for you actually, because I actually had a mentor client come to me and we were talking about websites, and she said she had no intention of setting up a website. That it seemed like she was raised on Facebook, and she had everything loaded to Facebook Business, and she thought she could just use Shopify, PayPal, and build her business that way without a website. Is that an evolution that's coming, or is websites still going to be there in the future, I guess?
Well, I consider Shopify a website.
Uh,
So if you are selling and shipping volume of work, then yes, Shopify. The only reason I didn't say Shopify here is because it usually is, you need to hire an expert to set that up, unless you're very tech oriented. It's very minutia, and that makes my brain go nuts. I can't do that stuff. But if you have Shopify and Facebook, you've got everything you need.
right. So let's see, Dr. J writing in, where can I get Cliff's info, his last name, email, etc., so we can ask questions about protecting my photography? Thanks. I think Cliff is going to do that a week from today on Tuesday at noon, if you want to tune in then. And his information will be there. Sarah's writing in, what if you already bought your domain name from Wix?
Yeah. Well, so depending upon what the domain name is, if it's your name, for example, maybe add a middle initial, and then buy it from somewhere else, and you can use that. Yeah, you would have to change it in some way, maybe make it a plural or put the word art in there. So let's say your name is Jane Smith and your middle name is Sue, Jane S. Smith, you would have to change it and buy another URL to move it off their platform. Or you could say Jane Smith Art, or art by Jane Smith, for example. You would have to change the URL. And then let that old one either expire or keep paying them to keep. You can take the website down, but you would have to keep paying them to keep the URL so that no one else could buy it.
Right. Yeah, I loved your description of the owned media, which included website as well as some of the old-fashioned, customer lists and business cards. So many people think of all those as like drudgery or whatever, but the fact is you control it and it's low cost, and that's where you should be putting your emphasis, really.
Right.
Another question, what if you're a person who finds online marketing overwhelming? How likely do you think it is that that person could establish a successful relationship with a marketing agency?
So that's what I do. Many people do find it overwhelming, or their, time constraints or whatever. That's why I talked about Wix early on, because it is a kind of a DIY thing. If you just want to start somewhere, if you don't want to do that, please feel free to, get in touch with me or someone like me. That's what we do. We'd love to help you.
Right. So the online marketing, that would include things like creating content around your work and things like that. You can help with that as well, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. What is Kim's asking, what is the best time to post on social media in 2021?
They're all different. Every platform is different. So that's why I recommend that resource list. You can look at Hootsuite and HubSpot, and they will tell you. So for example, posting on LinkedIn is a very different animal than posting on Instagram. Instagram is a lot more, it's more personal. So maybe posting on Thursday, Friday might be better. Whereas on LinkedIn, I know that Tuesday is the best day at like 11 a.m. But then here's what happens. 20 million people across the US read that same email newsletter, and then everybody's posting at the same time, and then everybody reading is overwhelmed, and then it becomes Wednesday. You just, post when you have something really great to say, and let the rest, I would say on a business site, like Sunday is probably not very good. But for real specifics, you can get those from Hootsuite.
Got it. And Gigi wants to know, what do you think about Weebly?
Yeah, I've not had recent experience with Weebly, so I can't say. I know that in the past, I've had clients contact me who had a DIY Weebly, and then they wanted to redo it. And I don't, at the time, nobody would really work on a Weebly. Everybody was doing WordPress. But it may have changed, just like Wix, and they may have gotten better. I haven't looked at them in years. I don't know.
Okay. Ginny, I don't really understand the question. Maybe you could open up the Q&A and read it yourself, Randy, but it says, Wix, do you own the website in full to move it, I guess?
Well, so you always own your content. And you would have to, like all your verbiage, for example, your about page, right? Or you would have to copy paste it into a Word doc, and then, move that into, let's say, WordPress if you were graduating to WordPress. If you use their images, no, it's their images. But if you upload your own images, of course, you own copyright and you can use them on any platform you like.
Got it. Okay, I think that's all the time we have for questions. As a reminder, a recording of this webinar is available within a couple of days on the fairfieldcounty.score.org website. Please check our website for information on upcoming webinars. Again, SCORE offers free individual counseling, so please use the link on the screen or visit our website and click Request a Mentor. We are available for sessions via phone, email, or video currently. Also, please fill out your evaluations that will be sent to you at the end of the webinar. On behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank you all for attending today's SCORE live webinar. In closing, a big thank you to Randye Spina. Thanks, Randy. That was great.
Thank you.